What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Peppy's Point of View. I'm your favorite host, Peppy, and you guys, yes, yes. It's kind of heartbreaking, right? We will not get up out of here alive, ladies and gentlemen. We all have to leave. It's just a part of life, isn't it? But Voletta Wallace, mother who shaped the Notorious B.I.G.'s legacy, and this is the title from the New York Times, has passed away at the age of 78, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, I know. I got to take a deep breath. All right, let's focus. All right, let's clean up a couple of things and get some things out of the way, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to welcome you new viewers, you returning viewers, you subscribers. I appreciate all of you guys for just, showing me love over here. And well, I've decided, like most people in these social media streets, decided that, you know what, I'm going to allow people, if they just so choose to want to donate to the page and support the page, you guys can definitely do that. I have a PayPal, and you guys, please feel free, if you want to support the channel financially, you can do so. And the PayPal link is right there. All right, let's move right along. Over here, I never know where I'm going to go. And I try not to just, follow certain news trends and things like that. I just feel over here, I have to have something to give you guys. I have to have something to offer. If there's a lesson in something, or if there's just something I feel like I would want to share in my voice to make an impact, then that's when I will speak about certain topics over here. For the most part, I love to, do what I do, and that is my music reviews, and stay in my lane as far as the R&B divas are concerned, okay, in music and everything. But from time to time, I think I want to, contribute, and I want my voice to be heard. And so here we have it. So there I am. I'm reading the New York Times post, right? Their page. And I am going down and I am reading some things. And there was a quote that kind of made me go, I wonder what that's all about. Okay. But before we get there, I'm going to read a little bit of the New York Times page, for the those of you guys who have not, read the New York Times page. And it pretty much says, Voletta Wallace, the mother of the Brooklyn rapper, the Notorious B.I.G., whose stewardship of her son's career and of his legacy after he was, after he passed in 1997, helped cement him as a hip-hop legend. She passed away Friday. She was 78 years of age. Oh, a middle-class immigrant and single mother from Jamaica, Miss Wallace was forced into the hip-hop spotlight after Notorious B.I.G., born Christopher Wallace and also known as Biggie Smalls, was, of course, he passed at the age of 24 in a Los Angeles drive-by, yeah, can't say certain words over here, but I think we all pretty much now know how he passed. Biggest passing came just 6 months after the Las Vegas slaying of rapper Tupac Shakur, at one time friend turned bitter rival. The abrupt passing ended a formative and fruitful moment in mainstream gangster rap amid a tangled East Coast West Coast beef that went far beyond music. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, you are aware of there were some lawsuits that came about, a wrongful death lawsuit from, I believe it was Faith Evans and as well as Voletta, right? If I'm not mistaken, because it says here in 2002, Miss Wallace and her son's widow, the singer Faith Evans, I thought so, filed a wrongful passing suit against the city of Los Angeles, accusing the Los Angeles Police Department of covering up police involvement in his passing. In 2005, 5 trial ended in a mistrial, with a judge ruling that the police had intentionally withheld evidence in ordering the city to pay their state's legal fees. Wow. In amended, version of the suit filed by Biggie's estate in 2007, estimated financial losses at 500 million. Wow. The case was dismissed in 2010 to avoid interfering with what the estate called a reinvigorated criminal investigation. The family only wanted justice to be done, a lawyer for the estate said at the time. All right. So moving on from that, this is where I want to bring your attention to something that when I got to this part, I was like, whoa. So it says for years, Miss Wallace was a reliable presence alongside the music executive Sean Combs, known as Puff Daddy or Diddy, who helped discover Biggie and who also shepherded his legacy after his passing. But she was unequivocal last year as Mr. Combs was accused of widespread abuse and indicted on federal racketeering and trafficking charges. This is what she said, and this is where we're going to pretty much talk about some things over here. She has, Valletta Wallace has been quoted as saying this: I hope that I see Sean one day. And the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him. And you can quote me on that, Miss Wallace told Rolling Stone, because I liked him. I didn't want to believe all the awful things, but I'm so ashamed and embarrassed. Wow. That says a lot, ladies and gentlemen. That says a lot about someone's, well, let's just say her mind frame, right? Because, of course, she had to have known that there was a lot of things going about of how B.I.G. passed, right? And I'm sure she did not want to believe those things. And I must put up here allegedly because you guys are making me tired. So I'm just going to say alleged just because. And if you think I'm going in a particular route, then you're sadly mistaken because I'm not going down that road. But to hear her or to read that she said these things and the fact of how, well, I just don't want to believe it. I know people are saying it. Maybe people have said some things about maybe his involvement with my son's passing. I know people probably have speculated some things about, his involvement with, the cases that are coming up, so on and so forth. But I'm willing to believe that while she may have known some things, she probably wasn't privy to everything, if you understand where I'm going with it. And for her to say in this statement, you can quote me on that, like when I see him, I want to slap the living daylights out of him. She's saying that, but she's saying this based off of the things that have come up. She's not talking about his possible involvement with her son's passing, right? She's talking about the abuse and the racketeering and the trafficking charges and those types of things. So I want to make sure we understand. She's saying, I hope that I see Sean one day, and the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him. And you can quote me on that, Miss Wallace told Rolling Stone, because I liked him. Do you understand? I liked him, and I didn't want to believe all the awful things, but I'm so ashamed and embarrassed. That says a lot. That says a lot about a person who someone could possibly say, well, she's in denial, right? So today, what I want to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is I want to talk about legacy. I do. I want to talk about legacy. And this is African American Month or Black History Month or Black Heritage Month. You know, we got so many ways, things we're going to call it, I guess, from here on out. You know, you have to excuse me if I'm sticking with Black History Month for a minute. Uh, but I want to talk about legacy. Well, let's see how these things connect. Well, you have Sean Combs. He's building a legacy, regardless of how you feel about the man or not, right? Setting that aside, he's building and creating a legacy for himself, whether if he cares about it or not. The people's careers that he's guiding, one can easily say that some of these artists are legend or they have a legacy. But I say this respectfully, and I really and truly do. I say it respectfully. But because of what Notorious B.I.G. was able to accomplish in a short period of time, here we have in front of us a mother who is now a part of a legacy. There's no doubt about it when we talk about in history from here on out, and we talk about mothers. Like, some people probably are saying that, you know, you stretching this thing too far. I don't think so. We're talking about Miss Wallace here, okay, who can very easily at this moment in time be right up there with Katherine Jackson. Yeah, Katherine Jackson. And what about Betty Shabazz, Coretta Scott King? You see where I'm going with this thing? Just because of what her son was able to do, and now it pushed her into the forefront, and now she has a legacy just of her own, and it's to be respected as well. Now, I don't know about you all, ladies and gentlemen, but when I grew up in a time where we were taught, at least I was taught to be proud of being a black male, of my skin color. That there were people out there who did not want you to be proud of that. And while I looked forward to Black History Month, in my household, I was always reminded of things like segregation because my grandmother would always talk about it. She would say, "Baby, you have rights now. I didn't have those rights when I was growing up, but you have rights now. Don't sit on them." That's how she would say, "Don't sit on your rights." And then my mother would say, "You know, I, I got 4 children. I want 4 degrees on my wall. I want my 4 degrees. Where are they?" And she didn't rest until she got them. And she was definitely having a tough time with one of my siblings with that. But I'm here to tell you, one of them finally got it together. Said, "All right, I got my degree." There was a lot of pulls and tugs and wobbles and resistance in that one, but my mother finally got her way with it. But do you understand where I'm going with this? We're talking about legacy, okay? Whew. So let's go. So as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, how do I want to approach this? Well, let's talk about legacy for an example. I'm talking about leaving behind a legacy. And it's just so interesting that in the twinkling of an eye, that it can all go to ish real fast. So when we talk about legacy, we can talk about what the amount of money or property left to someone in a will, or the long lasting impact of particular events actions that took place in the past or of a person's life. When we're talking about legacy, we have all kinds of legacies, right? Edward Jenner, the gentleman who came up with the smallpox vaccine, the theory of relativity, Albert Einstein. What about artistic legacy like Shakespeare and Beethoven, Vinci? We have social legacies like Martin Luther King and Nelson Mandela. We could talk about the legacy as far as the drafting of the U.S. Constitution, the um, abolishing slavery. We could talk about philanthropic legacies. We could talk about all kinds of legacies. And I know some of these legacies are tainted. In some ways, but I think that they're tainted because we get to a point in our lives where we get so caught up on praising men, right? We praise them, we worship men. You know, as someone said, we love a great come up story, but we love a great fall as well. And then we love a good comeback story, right? I say it again, we love a good rise. We love a good fall and we love a good comeback. And the problem with that is that 9 times out of 10, some of those things are more about character flaws than anything. But what do we do when we find our legacy and everything that we worked so hard for just seems to be like it's about to go down the tube? What how how does one handle that? And I'm saying to myself, how did we get here or how do we get here? I said this before once in another post when I was talking about American greed. And there's a video I have, and I've talked about this once before, and here I am. I guess I'm right back at it again, talking about the same person in so many ways. But it's, American greed, the rock and roll lifestyle. But I'm not talking about rock and roll lifestyle right now. How did we get this kind of mixed up is where I'm going with this. How did we get it mixed up? Well, first of all, you have to believe what is said is true. You just have to. I don't know about any of you all, but I'm willing to bet as far as public opinion is concerned, right? In the court of public opinion, that particular person's legacy is done. I don't think there's no coming back from it. Like that is definitely tarnished. It's almost like if let's just say for instance, if it is true. Let's just say if it is true. How does one recover from that? And I'm not talking about legacy. I'm talking about or I'm talking about how do you come back from it as far as how do you make your life better? How do you become a better person out of that? What do you do? The media, your PR people can say, oh well, you can go on up, you can go on a tour, an apologetic tour. and you can go out and about and you can do all these kinds of things to show people that you are definitely trying to make a better life for yourself in what's the word I'm looking for? A better life for yourself, or you're becoming a better person, so on and so forth. And you do these things to let people see that you are, in fact, making a change in your life. I mean, that's one thing. But where I'm going with it is, how do you make the people whole? How do you make a person whole again? How do you make a person whole again when you have betrayed his or her trust, invaded his or her personal space? And I know people was looking at the Cassie situation, and I know a lot of people probably in the past was looking at money and thinking about how much money it was, and so on and so forth. But let's just say if what happened really happened, let's just say the amount of therapy you probably is going to have to need after that also must come into play. One must think about that as well. But I'm talking about legacy though. Let's not get it all twisted. It's legacy. And as I'm almost approaching the 30-minute mark of with this video, where I'm trying to land and I'm about to land there is, I think somehow or another we kind of forgot about legacy. I think. And it's so ironic. The irony of all of this is the YOLO culture. You only live once. And it's so interesting. This is just my take on it because as I was thinking about it, you only live once. I know that there was a terminology at one moment in time, right? And I am saying to myself, like, where did this come from? I'm saying to myself, and the irony of it, but I'm looking at this and it came up. It says that the phrase "you only live once" is a modern version of carpe diem, which means seize the day. The term became popular on the internet in 2012 after the release of Drake's hit single, The Motto. YOLO. You only live once. But then again, I mean, he didn't make that, he probably made it popular. But now I'm also thinking about it and it just fell into my head because of the lyric, Salt and Pepper back in the day. The 1989 single, Expression. You only live once and you're not coming back, so express yourself. You only live once. And I think that there's this guy, what's his name? What's his name? The song, I'm living my best life. What's his name? Is it Charlie Wilson talking about I'm living my best life? I'm living my best life. These things are great. And I've heard a lot of people say, you know what, I'm gonna ride this until the wheels fall off of it. When you really think about it, do you want the wheels to fall off your life? When you think about it, I mean, at some point in life, building a legacy for yourself, YOLO, carp diem, all of that stuff. I would like to think that it comes with a sense of you are wanting to appreciate life, that you want to leave something behind. Do you see where I'm going with this? You want to leave something behind. You want to take care of your things. You want to take care of your things. Let's just say in this case with Miss Wallace here. Okay, I was reading some report where I think she was able to turn I'm just going to throw out a number, a $50 million dollar uh, a 50 million estate into $150 million estate because she apparently took care of the estate. If that's the correct number, and if that's true that she was over it, but still, this here is about appreciation of things. That's where I'm going. See, one thing I have to say about this is that I don't know why I want to use Martin Luther King Jr., but I am going to use him because I know a lot of people talk about Martin Luther King Jr. Supposedly, he was a womanizer, so on and so forth, and all of that. But does that really taint the civil rights movement? Does that really taint the civil rights movement? Is the civil rights movement intact? What about the legacy you're leaving behind and the appreciation of things? Think about it. Let me just I put it to you like this. Okay, here's how I'll go about saying it. Let's just use something as simple as, I don't know. Let's say bananas. I don't know why that just came in my head, but let's just say bananas. Let's just say we eat up all of the bananas. Like we have more bananas than we could possibly ever eat. I mean, just in life in general. And we get to the point where we become so indulged with bananas, like we want them. We are doing so much with bananas to the point where, you know what, the bananas now, there are no more. All the seeds are gone. You can't get the banana back because we did not appreciate the banana when the bananas was here, right? Which means that the generations behind us will not know what it's like to eat a banana because we did not take care of the bananas when we were here. There has to be some part of a legacy where people understand that it's bigger than you. And if you have this mentality that I'm living my best life, that I'm only living once, that life is just go through it and do whatever you want to, you damage your body as much as you want to, you know what I'm saying? Indulge in as much as you want to, so on and so forth. And when I think about eat, drink, and be merry, I think it's just what that is. Eat, drink, and be merry. Enjoy. Just enjoy it, but don't abuse it. Don't destroy it. That's where I'm going, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I wanted to land. I wanted to land on that. Legacy. And granted, some people just flat out don't even care. They're not going to care. And there's nothing that you can do or say to make them care. They're just not going to. Some people will get it after they make a mess. And maybe they'll get it then. I have to get to a place where it's like, man, I really messed this legacy up thing or messed it up on my way trying to build or create. I'm talking about a person in general. Yeah, it is what it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far in my commentary, I thank you guys so much for just hanging out with me. I really and truly do. You already know. Hey, support me by hitting the like button, the share button, the subscribe button, leaving comments, so on and so forth. As I said before, over here, definitely now accepting, financial contributions if you want to support the channel in any kind of way. I appreciate that. Definitely, you can donate to my PayPal. My motto over here is very, very simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be, ladies and gentlemen. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you should know what to do by now. Take care of yourselves out there, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Talk to you later.